Let's go. All right. Let's just talk motivation. So for this group, for this call, it's more so just a matter of pouring out in terms of motivation or what it motivates you or what something that inspiring has happened throughout your week. Um, maybe even from your vacation. You know what I'm saying? So this is more of a casual conversation, or it could be a story that's inspiring or motivational. But it's a call to push us, a call that pushes us, or that should be able to push us in terms of um everyday life,
Okay.
inspiration towards others. So let's start with you. And if we have time for me, then we'll use it. But yeah,
Well,
something. What did you say? We'll have time.
yes, I will.
I be trying to escape. I be trying to get away. But I'm really fascinated when it comes to people that are in my groups because I'm just like, I'm really wanting to know, hey, how do you feel? What is the inspiration? What motivates you? So, all right. So for you, so let's hear it. Like, if you want to share something that happened on your trip, obviously I know more personally what you've been going through, just because you've been communicating. But for people who will be listening to this, because I'll post it on YouTube,
Right.
um, yeah, give us some motivation, Care.
Give us some motivation.
Motivation.
I guess like I really had to motivate myself this week a lot,
Yeah,
to like get things done because
yeah,
being home with family, like it was a lot of fun. Like I just wanted to like hang out with them, but
yeah,
it
yeah,
was also like for school where I still had to do school because I'm doing it online.
yeah.
It just so happened that it was like my busiest week of school. Um, we were doing a debate that week, and like online, and so I had to post way more than I usually have to.
Mm,
And so I had to like find time and motivate myself to do school while I really just wanted to like hang out with family and have fun with them.
yeah,
I made time for both, but it was like I had to be, I guess I wouldn't even necessarily motivated is the if that's the word, or just disciplined and just be like, okay,
yeah.
you gotta get this done, like
Hmm.
in order to get your grade in. And then I did, like, and at the end of it, I got it back and I got a
Yeah.
hundred percent on it.
Let's
So,
go.
whew, so we did it.
Wow.
But it was difficult to be motivated during that time.
Yeah.
Um, just because you're like, I don't want to be like as much as I love, this like what I'm learning in school,
Yeah.
um, was like I wanted to be involved with what was happening with my family. And I also
Yeah.
wanted to like, some of it was like I felt a little bit bad because it was like my sisters ended up, setting up. We were having a birthday party for my parents. So like they were
Yeah.
setting it up and I was like, I would have loved to have been a part of like the decorating and all of that stuff, but I had to
Yeah. You
do
had to.
what I had to do.
Yep.
And so sometimes I guess like I don't maybe this is motivational or isn't,
Yeah. Come on.
but sometimes you have to be the one that says, look, like whether whatever is happening, like the fear of missing out or like, whatever, or not
Yep.
being there to help like with
Hmm.
things that you want to, like you wish you could, but
Yeah.
your priorities have to be in order and in a line where it's like this is so important right now, like
Yeah.
for the future, that I have to take the time to do this. Like the
Yeah.
stuff, like my sisters were taking care of the party. Like they were
Yeah.
getting ready. They didn't actually need me. Like, of course they would have loved it
They
if,
would have loved you. Yeah.
but they had it covered.
Yeah.
So it's like for that, you have to, like, part of it is just balancing, like understanding where you're needed and what you need to do.
Facts.
And then having that push. I don't know if
Facts.
it makes sense, but that's what.
No, no, that makes complete sense. And thank you for saying that because I just had that same scenario with with the group calls, right?
Yeah.
I was talking to one of the guys at my church, and like literally, I looked down and I'm like, "Oh man, it's I got one of my calls now." And you being the moderator is like, "Oh yeah, she sits in on the call. She's a part of the calls. That's what she's doing." Um, and so it's like, literally, I had to stop the conversation and go, "Hey, even though it's like really really good right now, you know, it's something that I have to stop because I have to tend to what's of priority right now."
Yeah.
And it goes back to what you just said. Yeah, like there's moments where we gotta go. There's things if you're gonna get it, if something's gonna get done, you're gonna have to realize that you're gonna have to say no to something else. You're gonna have to say no to something if you're gonna say yes to something else.
Yeah. There
You
has
get
to,
what I'm saying?
yeah, there's like sacrifices that have to be made sometimes.
Sacrifices. Yep. Yep. There you go. No, you just said it. You just said it. And that's something right there. I think a lot of times that I like I'm very much so a and guy instead of a or guy. Like I'm like I can do this and this. I don't have to separate them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was talking to my girl the other day about that, and like just the aspect of you know you have to understand that there are moments where there has to be a or.
Hmm.
You can't be two places at once.
Yeah.
Kara's gonna either be doing something, putting up the decorations or this or that with her family, or she's gonna have to sit at the computer and literally type up or post an essay or this or that. You can't do both of those at the same time.
Yeah. That's
You
true.
know? Yeah. And I love operating and I think that a lot of scenarios calls for that, but there's a lot of scenarios in which or has to be the case in that moment.
Yeah.
So like that, what you just said that wasn't inspirational, or motivational, but that's very motivational. Let me ask you this too. What do you define motivation as? What is motivation to you? Because I'll tell you my definition of it in regards to creating a group, but what do you define it as? You being like the first person on the call.
Mm.
Well, actually not the first on this call, but like one of the first. What would you say is your definition of motivation?
Motivation. I guess something that drives you, keeps you going.
Mm. Mm. Okay. Okay. So kind of like momentum.
Yeah.
Okay. Inertia.
And what inertia, yeah. And
Inertia. Yeah, yeah. Throwing all these scientific words out. I'm sorry.
it's okay.
That's dope. That's dope. Something that keeps you going. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And where would you say motivation lies in terms of, I guess, priority or on a scale for you? Like, where is motivation in your priority?
Mm-mm. What do you mean by that?
I guess like because you mentioned discipline too, and that's actually something Giselle actually mentions a lot. She loves talking about discipline, discipline, discipline. But and I'm all for discipline, but and I guess I'll define my definition of motivation. For
Yeah.
me, motivation is a push. It's
Mm.
kind of like what you said. It's momentum. It's that thing that kind of pushes you, and that's not to say that you need it. You should rely on it, but it's definitely something that kind of gets. It's like a jolt. It gets you going.
Mm-hmm.
That's my definition of it. And so, I guess in terms of that definition, or in terms of your definition, where does it lie in priority to um, discipline, um, consistency, all those different things that kind of people hint at when it comes to getting something done? Where does motivation lie in terms of priority or in terms of relevancy?
I mean, I think there is a level you need to have a level of motivation in order I think it's like what kind of gets you started.
Mm,
What I think. Um, because without the motivation to begin, like then the motion can't happen. Like
dang. Oh, yes. Oh, wow. It's very relevant for you if
I
it's what
think
gets you started.
I mean, I think so. Like it's what gets you started, and then it's the
Wow.
discipline that keeps you going. It's a discipline.
Ooh. I was
It's
just I was on this call. That would be a dope thing to hear y'all like talk back and forth about that. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's a yeah. So then it's the discipline that keeps you going because
Yes.
sometimes you're not like sometimes you might not have the motivation.
Yeah.
Like, like even with like this week is like I didn't necessarily have the motivation to do what I needed to do.
Yeah.
I had the discipline there because and also just like and also the due dates. So like I mean there was
Yeah.
that. But it's like the discipline was there for getting it done.
Yeah.
And so and then consistency I guess I think to me goes along with discipline.
Yeah.
Um, and just by continuing to do it, you're consistent.
Yeah.
And like it's easier, and that builds your habits and stuff if you have the routine down and everything. But if you're not motivated to do something, it's probably not going to happen. So for me, motivation is the start, it's the catalyst.
Motivation is the catalyst. I like that. Oh, that's a snippet. This is a snippet right here. No, that's definitely a snippet. I love that. Okay. All right. So with that in mind, you hinted at the aspect of you having to choose one thing over the other as a form of, motivation, or that being motivation for other people who may have a similar scenario. Um, and again, there's a lot of other things I know that transpired throughout your week. So what else would you say, or give us some more motivation? Give us Mo. We want Mo.
Well, wait, before I continue, where's motivation for you?
Okay, okay, all right. We're gonna do a tossing back and forth. All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
You know I don't
All
like to
right.
talk too much.
Nah, you're right. You're right. Okay. No, you're right. You're right. You're right. It's only fair. I be trying to. I guess I really do be trying to like get out of it.
You do.
Nah. I would say for me, motivation this past week, at least, I would say, to be honest with you, I would say in many parts, motivation and prayer. My wisdom tooth was, acting up, as you know, and that was just like, man, like, I called out of work. It was kicking my butt.
Hmm.
It was kicking my butt, Kara. Like, it was getting there, and I was just like, I had just went on a hike, and I'm just like, man, like, I want to just conquered something really amazing. I just got a car, and I just kind of like finished like paying everything off with that, all this type of stuff, just to then get hit with something else. And that really showed me that, like, no matter how much you think you have life figured out or down, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I think a lot of times as humans, we can really feel like we got it down. It's like, no, I don't need nobody to tell me anything.
Hmm.
It's like, I got it. I got this. I got it down now. I'm a pro now. Oftentimes that's kind of how we can feel, but I can definitely say that it has now been a level of, or I think God is continuously showing me a level of, you never know. You're never in control, really, when you think about it.
Right.
And looking at it in the perspective of faith, to be honest, that's actually very comforting, because I wouldn't want to be in control. I would jack up everything in the world if I was the Lord. So but to know him and to know who he is, I think that's motivational. That's that push that can start you into a new direction. Um, maybe motivation could even be looked at as a form of faith. That thing that gets you going, like you
Yeah.
said. You
Hmm.
know, and I
Yeah.
would say, like, for that wisdom tooth thing, it really just was a level of like me realizing that, hey, I didn't see this coming, and I don't know where it's going to go from here. I don't know if I'm still going to get this thing yanked out of my jaw and have a hole in my jaw for the next 3 weeks, and having to go through all the blood clotting and like, I don't want to go through all that.
Hmm.
Or the Lord will heal it to where it just pushes out. I don't know, but um, what I do know is that He's faithful, and that whenever there's been a level of shaky ground, He's been that rock that's been able to, like, hold me in those times. And so I feel like that is very motivational.
Yeah.
At least for a Christian that's hearing this, or a person who isn't a Christian who may become a Christian through it. I don't know,
Yeah.
but I would say that has been a big part of my motivation of this week, like a level of just realizing that you are not in control, but there's one who is,
Hmm.
and then therefore you can get motivation through that,
Yeah.
to keep going, to or to start, right? That initial push, that momentum. So yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. I understand that.
Mhm.
I guess to move on into like, I guess something else this week that was
Yeah.
like motivation for me is just going off of what you said with like the faith and with God and everything is that um I've just been motivated a lot in my life
Mhm.
now to like there's just been a lot of restoration happening for
Yeah.
me, like with
Mhm.
just um things that happened in my past, a lot of my
Yeah.
story.
Mhm.
And so just like I just really do believe that this is a season of restoration. There's a lot of
Mhm.
things that are being restored and just brought back, and that's motivating and very
Yeah.
like helpful. There's a lot of hope still in the
Yeah.
world, and
Mhm.
hope for just different things. Um, Hope in there, like my family went through a lot this year. There was a
Yeah.
lot happened with my family, and um, there's definitely, there's things I can't share on this call because
Yeah.
recorded, but there's a level of sadness and just different things that had happened, like
Yeah.
the flood. There's diagnoses that had happened and just
Yeah.
different,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
But at the end of the week, just the Lord um just wrapped things up
Come on.
with a perfect bow, and it was just beautiful, and it ended
Yeah.
with so much hope um and love and just beauty. Like so just the way that he ended things in the week,
Yeah.
it was beautiful. And that just like that's motivating in and of
Yeah.
itself. Like just
Yeah.
to think about, and it honestly was then the news that we got was super motivating, and I knew it would be for like getting my parents even to start thinking about fixing up the house like from the flood, like and like prioritizing different things. They're like um as soon as that news was shared, my
Yeah.
mom was like she looked to my dad and she said, "We need to do this." That
Yo.
was like, hope brings a lot of motivation.
It
And
does.
so I think that um it's good to
Yeah.
don't get rid of your hope. Like
Yeah.
for things, even when things go wrong in your life, like there's always room for hope.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's yeah. In the news that y'all got, that now that's some motivation. Like you said, like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Motivation doesn't have to necessarily just be something that's happening with you in your life. It could be news that someone else shares with you. And it's like, man, this little thing is about to bring a whole bunch of motivation into
Ooh.
y'all lives, even yours, right? That's going to impact you even, you
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
and it becomes this new way of wanting to be, this new way of wanting to, um, express oneself or see oneself as like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think that's the beauty too of being around like people who are positive. Because I actually recently asked someone this, and I'll ask you this too. With all the people that you're around right now, would you say that you're around more people that are positive or negative? Like positive as in like, they're pouring in you, or they come to you about just amazing stuff, and they're always just up and talking about good things, and just wanting to share things that are just looking really positive in their life? Or do you hang around more people who are, always talking negative? It's always something bad or wrong. Which one would you say is mostly around you in
Uh,
this period of life?
Currently, it like mostly around me is like the positive people.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. Has there ever been a moment where it
Yeah.
has been more negative than positive?
Mhm. Yeah.
Really?
Mhm.
And were you aware of that, or were you not really aware of it because it was just so much around you?
Um, there, like, I was aware of it. I think, like, there were times when I was aware of it, and then there was times when I was not. And there were times I think when, like, I fed into the negativity sometimes.
Yeah,
Um, and then there were times when I tried to bring positivity, but if a person doesn't receive it or isn't like willing to receive it, then and they're just going to continue to be negative, then that's hard to be around.
yeah,
Like, there are moments where this is like I said, life happens, and so there's times when like bad things happen to you, right?
yeah,
Um, and so it's okay to like talk about the reality of your situation or like to
mm,
say that this really stinks and to go through like the grief, like even with the flood, it's like my mom was like, there's a grieving process in it, and I'm not necessarily ready to move forward in like the next steps yet because I'm still like grieving the losses that we had. And,
yeah,
even the neighbors is like, some of the houses, my parents, thankfully, their house
hmm,
wasn't condemned, but some of their neighbors' houses were condemned. They
yeah.
can't live there anymore.
Wow,
And so,
wow.
like, the neighborhood is a lot quieter.
Mm,
I mean, it
yeah,
was already quiet to begin with, but like even quieter because there's not people living in those houses anymore. So like
yeah,
that's hard, like you
yeah,
lost neighbors and stuff. So like it's okay to be like that, but like to recognize the reality of a situation, but not to continue. Like you don't want to continue in negativity. Like you don't want to.
yeah,
You still want there to be a little bit of like to have hope and to like be able to receive positive things.
yeah,
Um, and even like with other people, like sometimes I was around people that I think were like just jealous,
yeah,
like and that's hard too because like you want to be with people that you can share good things with, even if they're going through something bad. You want to be able to, you know, like you want to be there for them when they're going through something, but you also want to be able to share with them like your good news and that can be still be good news for them. Like they can
yeah,
celebrate you
yeah.
instead of being like upset that you had good things happen to you and they didn't.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. No, that's really good. Yeah. Yeah, being around those type of people, that could just it's draining
Mhm.
being around people. Like I have certain people I've talked to, and I've like they'll tell me that they're like falling into depression or they feel depressed, and I'm like, hey, like who are you hanging around? Like,
Yeah.
that's literally what I ask people now. I don't even ask them necessarily what's making you depressed or like why are you feeling depressed. My first question is, who are you around?
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because oftentimes that can really be one of the biggest reasons.
Yeah.
You
It makes
know? Go ahead.
I said it makes a difference for sure.
It makes a difference, Kara. Like, it makes a freaking difference. Like, having people around you that are just always talking down and negative and they always see life as just that. Like, woe is me.
Hmm.
That woe is me mentality, that victim mentality, I guess you could say. And a lot of things you can't change. I understand that, but you know, and I think it too goes back to like the faith as well. Like
Hmm.
if there's a greater hope, from above, then it's like all the more of a reason why you should be rejoicing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It gives you more of a reason to rejoice.
Yes.
Yeah. So like, I definitely think it's just a level of who you're around, as well as like spiritually where you are. Like I can't even ignore that. You know,
You can't.
you can't. You can't even ignore that. Like when you're spiritually also sitting in darkness, and there isn't no motivation. You know, um, and I would even speak on too passion,
Hmm.
passion too. Like passion that's something I've kind of been talking about throughout my week as well. Is asking people. are you doing what you love? Are you doing what you're passionate about? Like even for you, right? I didn't want you to be in these groups, so I didn't want you to join or try to moderate any group that you were not going to be passionate about,
Mhm.
right? And I know you told me that you were just going to fill it out, you were going to join them and to see if you are enjoying any one of these. And remember, I told you if you don't like it, then let me know, because I don't want you to be a part of any group or moderate any group that you are not passionate about, like, and that's okay, like, but I think to do something and to not love it to me is a matter of why do it.
Yeah.
That's how I operate. I'm extreme with that. I am. I'm like, man, like I'm super extreme with that. So like, I really um I really hone on that and I'm really focused in on that in terms of doing what you love and doing what you enjoy because I think that also plays a part on the energy that you have, right? And I'm not talking about the energy universe and all that. It's more so like
Mm-hmm.
I think you're energized. I think you're energized and you work hard when you love something. You get what I'm saying? Like you don't want to do nothing that you don't love. Like you don't enjoy it.
Yeah.
What's your take on that? Would
I
you
would
say you're extreme?
would I say I'm extreme? I mean, I am working on balance in my life.
Mm,
So like, I can go to extremes.
yeah,
I have gone to extremes,
yeah,
one way or the other.
hmm
But for me it's more about balancing.
yeah,
You want to be, you do want to be passionate about what you love or like,
yep,
enjoy what you're doing.
hmm
But um but there's also a level of like some things you have to do even if you don't like them. Like
that's true.
some it's like, you have to do this
Yeah,
because um necessary.
yeah,
Uh Paying bills are necessary. I don't
yeah.
like I don't like
So you
it.
don't like doing it, yeah.
Um so uh yeah, but being able to do something that you love is it's where everybody I think wants to be.
Yeah. And and I would even like take it even further and say like even for the things that you have to do and may not want to do or like to do, like you could perhaps even try to get to a place where you can hire someone else to do it for you.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like it's like, to be honest, that's one of the reasons I wanted moderators. Like not to say I don't necessarily enjoy posting and doing all those different things with my groups, but it gives me more room to then focus on the DMs, which is where I like to
Yeah.
be. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? To then give me more of that one-on-one to be able to then pull people into groups.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Or freeing up my space to kind of like converse more so with people in a way that can then pull them into perhaps pull them into the podcast or a podcast or this or that.
Yeah.
But picking people's brain is kind of what I love to do.
Right.
Very much so, like getting to understand people, how they work, how they function. Having moderators kind of created that is creating that for me. And so, yeah, I think I would, and like, what would you say about that? Do you think that there's a level in which things that you may not like to do, you can either hire someone else to do it for you or try to, or you can even go so far as to, like, um, trying to make it as fun as possible.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Learn to enjoy it.
Learn to enjoy it. Exactly. It's like let me if I don't like working out, let me try to throw in some music, which is what I do like,
Hmm. Yeah.
and that may make it more enjoyable.
Adding something that you enjoy to
Come
something.
on, come on. Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And I think that right there is something that I think a lot of people don't really take into consideration is the fact that you can actually try to make it more enjoyable.
Right.
You know, what would be one thing that you would say um you don't like, or what's a scenario in which you didn't like it and you made it more enjoyable, and how did you make it more enjoyable? Curious to know how you've done that.
Well, I guess like um
And don't say you don't like nothing. I know you don't like something.
there's definitely there's definitely things I don't like. Um
I'm
I guess like I mean something that I've done is like recently is just like making my like mundane tasks be a little bit more fun by going live on TikTok when I clean or um like so like I'm if I'm organizing or cleaning my room, so I'll put music on, I'll go live on TikTok and I'll just get it done while other people watch, I guess. Which is like it's kind of strange how many people like will sometimes join in, but it's also fun. And then it like helps me get cleaning done that I mean I would still get done, but it's like it made it a little bit more enjoyable by doing that.
that's dope. That's super, super dope. I think that's and so and you're saying that it made it more enjoyable.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, like I still find it so funny that
Yeah,
people like I put on there that I'm cleaning and listening to music. And
yeah,
like sometimes I don't even like I mean I try to acknowledge them.
yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, in the midst of cleaning or doing something. So
Mhm.
I don't always acknowledge them. Um, but yeah. So I would say, I mean I get stuff done.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, and I respect that. Like, even if you don't want to do it, like you say, your homework or this or that, like, even being in a good setting, right? Like,
Mhm.
being in being in like a certain setting, maybe going to the library or
Sometimes I have to switch up like I mean, for the most part, I can get my home and I enjoy doing my homework at home. But like sometimes
yep,
it's to have like a switch up in setting. So sometimes I'll go to like a coffee shop
yeah,
and I get a chai latte and just sit there
yeah,
and have a change of environment or even just outside, sitting outside in nature. And
yep. Hmm. Exactly. The level of satisfaction that can come from just something so small that can make a world of a difference,
yeah,
in terms of what it is that you don't like, you
right.
know, which is a lot of things for me. Which I'm for real. To be honest, I would say my job is one of those things that I don't like necessarily. Um, but it's just a level of, you know, my job is a level in which I have the freedom, I have the freedom to good. We good, we good. I'm sorry. This dude was about to hit my car.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was like, let's see. We worked it. We worked it. Okay, cool. There we go. Yeah, I had to like back up so this man wouldn't slam into it. But
Oh.
essentially, for my job, right? Like I talk about tech support. I don't really enjoy talking about troubleshooting phones, but I enjoy and love talking to people
Hmm.
like this. So it's like literally just that alone fuels me,
Right.
and just really like allows me to express, it allows me to endure, if I'm being honest. It allows me to endure.
Mhm.
Um, and if I didn't have that level of expression, I can tell you right now, Kara, I would have been quit. I'm dead serious.
No, I believe you.
Yeah.
I totally believe you.
Yeah. If that level of expression was not there,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I would not have endured. So I know we're winding down. We're a little bit over halfway through. Is there
Mhm.
any other motivation? I got more, but I
No.
want to toss it back to you. Anything else that you learned throughout this week, even throughout this month, or something in particular that probably hit you as well? Um, I, I could point something out that I would like to kind of hear your perspective more on, or at least have you share it.
Okay.
But I'm gonna allow you to make that decision.
Um, I don't
You know.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of like, I mean, I hit the like for this week,
Hmm.
um, you know, my kind of lack of motivation, but also just like priorities.
Yeah.
Um, so like, you know, God, like the hope and like the restoration.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, I think that's been a theme like this
Hmm.
month, even just really feeling like I'm just being in a season of restoration. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's motivating. Um, you know, not necessarily knowing what's gonna happen next, but
Yeah.
I'm hopeful and just moving, I don't know, moving forward. Just this like forward momentum is what it just feels like.
No, that's good. That's good. And again, I'll even hint at something I feel like you and even me myself in many ways have went through this past year, or even like I would say for me, it's probably even been like a level of COVID that this happened with. But separation. Someone brought this up to me in church, and they were just talking about like how God could separate you and or isolate you in a moment of like trying to get you to hear Him more.
Yeah.
And so he's so like even in your aspect of this year and you going through that with certain things you've shared with me or we've just talked about,
Yeah.
what motivation would you give someone or pour forth in that level of experience of separation
Separate,
or yeah.
like being in separation from like, I mean, I guess in any like in any regard, like with friendships, with like
Exactly.
with
Friendships, environments, community, any aspect of that.
I
What?
mean, I guess
Yeah.
I guess I've
Hmm.
done all of them, but um I
You
think
ain't gotta get too
yeah,
detailed.
yeah, I think yeah, I'm just trying to think about like what I would say to someone
Putting
right.
you on the spotlight.
Yeah. And then when the sun is like shining on me. I'm really like in the hot seat right now.
You're in the hot seat.
Um, but just like in that moment, in those moments of separation,
Yeah.
um, truly leaning into like figuring out like so where your motivation came from before, because there's like intrinsic
Mm,
and extrinsic motivations, right? So
mm,
like were you leaning on other people for your as your source of motivation,
mm.
or did it really come from yourself? Or like, and not necessarily, and for like me also, it's like when you think about it, is your motivation coming from God as
Yeah.
well?
Yeah.
Um, because that is very like important. And like
Yeah.
that's why sometimes like you were saying before, or like the conversation you had with someone else is just that God will separate you if you are in a place that you might be relying on others more than him.
Yeah.
And so like, you know, where is that motivation? Where is that those thoughts coming from? Like,
Yeah.
and if your motivation like came from other people, like honestly, that's not gonna last very long because
Hmm.
um because they can other people can only push you so far.
Yeah.
You have to push yourself as well.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're right. And when you were separated from those people or from the community or from relationships or whatever, did you realize that you were often dependent on those people in terms of motivation or inspiration?
Um, I think like there were like I would say that when I was younger, I was a lot more codependent on people.
What do you mean by what does codependent mean? I'm sorry.
Dependent is like where you can't, like you feel like you can't do something without them.
Okay. That was you?
Yeah.
Wow. You're very like explorative now. Like you're completely changed.
And that is why change is possible.
Yeah.
You want it.
It doesn't
Um,
sound like you at all.
yeah, I was a different person for sure.
My goodness.
Um, and so yeah. So like, and so sometimes my push did come from people, or
Yeah.
like some of it also had to do with like, the tendency to please other people.
Yeah. Yeah. You did say that. You were a yes person.
Stuff like
Yeah.
that too. That a lot of
Yeah.
times comes along with codependence as well.
Yeah.
Um, like goes along with it. So like, the tendency to try to please other people,
Yep.
then you get your motivation. Like you, I don't even know if, well, I guess motivation would be like you get your motivation from them, but it's not even like you're getting your motivation from them. It's more like you're trying to do what you think would motivate them, or you
Yeah.
think would give them, I don't know, something that they want.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I would say that was me a lot of times. And then it's like
Mm,
figuring out what I actually wanted,
yeah.
like took a lot of actual work. And then also took a lot of like, figuring out that it wasn't selfish to want things.
Yeah. 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 hmm
So I don't know.
Do you
Yeah.
do you, do you feel like because for me too, I feel like a lot of times when it comes to people who have toxic people in their lives, they then struggle with like thoughts and things in their and voices in their head that may say this or tell them to do this or wait, are we recording this? Yeah.
Yes, this has been recorded.
Okay. Whoo!
I would have let you know if it was.
Thank you. All right, you stand on it. All right. All right. I just wanted to make sure.
And
I
that's
was so
why I'm very careful with my words.
okay. Yeah, you are. You are. Okay. I would have been so mad. Like I was like, bro. Okay, so it is recorded. Okay. But would you say that with your um with your what was I about to ask you?
What
Would you
were
say that with the voices like with the voices that you may have had or with your experiences, your past experiences, and the thoughts and things you may struggle with because of those experiences? Again, oftentimes I feel like people who go through those things or have talked to people in their lives at a young age and then they grow up with these doubts and all these different things in their head or things from past experiences, they then have to kind of like reprogram or like get those voices out of their heads.
Yeah.
Would you say that would you say that those voices would you say that those voices are completely gone? Or would you say that
No, they're not completely gone, but they're a lot quieter now.
like quieter? Okay.
Yeah. And it's easier
Okay.
for me to like shut them up, I guess. Like when they come
Yeah,
up,
yeah.
like when the thoughts come up, it's easier
Yep.
to like, no, that's not who I am. Like that was the lie. So
That's
it's just
good.
easier to just be like you can be quiet now. Because
That's
you're
good.
not even telling the truth. Like they still come up for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
It's just like having taken the time to really recognize. And again, it comes down to, for me, it's faith and
Yeah.
knowing exactly what the word says and what God says about me and about all of us, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not that like he says, I mean, he says I am special, but everybody's special.
Yeah.
Like everybody's worthy and everybody has gifts and talents and things that they're given.
Absolutely.
So like there's like verses that everyone can use
Yeah.
that just say exactly who they are and who
Yeah.
God thinks they are.
That's good. That's really good. Wow, man, I'm trying to tell you this call is refreshing. Like I'm for
Well,
real, because what you say?
I said, well, that's good.
Yeah, like, do you feel refreshed?
Hmm.
Yeah, because I do. Like, it feels good talking about this. This is one of the reasons why I created this group is because it's just like, man, negativity is so loud.
Yeah.
Everywhere you click and go. Remember, we were just talking about politics the other day, right? Like we were talking about like just the negativity in it.
Yeah, there's so much. So much.
So much.
Especially now, it's like gotten so negative. Like it didn't
Oh,
be as, I don't think it used to be as negative. It's
yeah,
divisive. It's always divisive when there's two teams or two
yeah,
like opposing forces. There's always division. But
absolutely.
like, yeah, it just has gotten worse over the years for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's kind of where, again, it's just for me, it's just been a level of constant avoidance of negativity. It's so loud. You go on Snapchat and you scroll on your like little story feed things and the news things, all they got is like, oh, so and so killed so and so, or 14-year-old dies from this, his father killed. It's just like, why is everything so negative?
Yeah.
And so it's to me, it's really a matter of, excuse me, to me, it's really a matter of seeking out positivity. Like you gotta forcefully look for it.
Yeah. Well, it shouldn't be like that. I mean, I guess I don't necessarily feel like I have to forcefully look for positivity anymore. Like I
Yeah,
mean, like I said, like I do have surrounded myself with positive people now.
yeah,
Um
hmm
and that and I wouldn't even say necessarily like I don't want to I mean, I think just people who I wouldn't necessarily even just say positive or negative. I would just say hopeful
yeah,
because like I said before, like reality of this life is that there's going to be troubles, and even in the Bible,
yeah,
like God
yeah.
says that we're going to have troubles, right?
Facts,
So there's
facts.
going to be things that happen,
Yeah,
but it's like we don't put our hope in the world, or we don't put
yeah,
our hope in the things, that are here. We put
yeah,
our hope in God and
yeah,
in, and so that is what like sustains you. And so when
facts.
you're around people that have hope, regardless of their situation,
Yeah,
that's what will like that's what can keep you going.
yeah,
That's what like can fuel you and stuff. Because there's
facts.
a lot of tragedies that happen and we need
Yeah,
to know about them so that we can
yeah,
help people through them.
yeah,
But yeah. So like, negativity or things that happen in this world, like just reality, bad things that happen,
yeah,
like it's okay that it gets reported or it's okay that it gets talked about, but there has to
true,
be action
true.
behind like behind those things. We can't just
Yeah,
talk about it and do nothing.
and leave it there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Facts. That's facts. That's a good way to look at it. A real good way to look at it. Freaking love that. Love that response, man. Oh, I love this.
Yeah.
It's so freaking refreshing. You have no idea that question feels. I'm for real. It's just God. Just you in general. Like one of the reasons why, you told me like maybe all these calls, you were like, I hope you can take this many hours of me, Trey, and this and that. And I was like, of course. Like it's a pleasure. It's an honor. Seriously. The moment I met you, it was nothing but that. Like who would not enjoy being around you? I don't see it happening. And so with the type of person that you are and what you have to offer and what you do offer, it's eh,
I'm sure there's people out there that don't like me.
I don't believe it.
It's
And
fine. They don't have to. It's okay.
if there are people, then something wrong with them. You know, let's just put it that way. Something wrong with them. If they are out there, something's wrong with them. But as for me, oh, you're refreshing, and I think you, I'm honored to have you. And to be honest, you know how they say misery loves company.
Yeah.
I think in the same way, like positivity or positive people or nice people, kind people love other people that are the same way. Like
Yeah.
it's like, you know, like you wanna run with your own flock
Yeah. It's like, well, they say opposites attract, but I think also like which is true in a sense, but
in a
also
sense. Yeah.
but, but like also goes with like, you
Yep.
know,
Yep.
and there's, a reason that it also says that you become those that you surround yourselves with.
Yeah.
Like, and so if you're focusing on and trying to be positive, but all you're around is negative people or
Yep.
people are constantly bringing things down,
Hmm.
or bringing drama or bringing this and that, then that's going to come into your life as well. So you
Yeah.
have to be aware of that.
That's
Um,
good.
which doesn't mean like you can't and just, sometimes you do actually have to cut people off and cut people out. And sometimes you have to set up, it's like more like setting up boundaries or setting up, you know, stipulations of like this is
Yeah.
like where you're allowed in.
Hmm.
Um, and then some people you can let in all the way.
Yeah. Oh, it's good. It's really good. You know. And I feel like I'm almost in there all the way. I feel like it. I may still got some working I gotta do, but hey, I feel like we are definitely creating a dope bond.
Mm-hmm.
I do. And I think that again, like you said, that takes time, but it's hard to find people that are loving and kind and you know, it's rare. The
Shouldn't
moment you do, it shouldn't be. Yeah. It should not be. But I think that's why people like me and you have to get loud. We have to be loud.
Yeah, that's true. I
Hmm.
know you've gotten me to talk a lot more than I ever used to. So
Wait, you said what?
I said you've gotten me to talk a lot more than I ever used to. So
Let's go. Really?
I mean, I'm being recorded and talking.
True.
So
True. Yeah,
let's
let's go.
see. Like
That's super
I
dope.
said I don't like being the center of attention. I'm like, and I don't. But people don't believe me all the time.
I don't believe you at all. Yeah. Like it's because like you have the type of personality that you have the type of personality that demands it. Like for some reason, like you can't just sit in the back. Like you have to say something because you have so many good things to say.
Yes, I suppose so.
Don't suppose. Don't suppose. Don't suppose. It's dead facts. It's dead facts. And you can't hide it. You can't run from it. There's nothing that you can do to hide it.
Yeah.
You just
So we gotta
can't.
embrace it.
You gotta embrace it.
See, this is an example of me doing something that I don't necessarily like is talking. So the way that
Hmm.
I made it enjoyable,
Hmm.
I'm making sure that you talk too.
That's messed up. That's messed up. How you gonna flip that? You gonna flip it on myself? You gonna flip my theory on myself?
Yeah.
That's messed up.
So,
That is messed up. But I love it. I love it. If you like it, then I love it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's dope though. That's dope what you do. What you just said is pretty messed up, but it's dope at the same time. That's dope. All right, I love it. In closing.
What?
any motivational words or anything that you want to give to our listeners, the people that are going to be hearing this on YouTube, or anything you want to pour out?
Um, just make sure that you're doing like things for like doing things for you. Like you
Mm,
have to figure out what it is. What do you want? It's okay to have wants. It's not selfish. And then pursuing those things is like figuring out how to pursue that.
yeah, good. That's good. Wow.
Mhm.
And I would say the same. I would back it up with, you know, I made a post or a quote recently, and it kind of like another version of what a poet of mine, Charles Bukowski, said before, and that is, "Let your passion kill you." You know, which to me is essentially die doing your passion, die enjoying your passions. Let
Yeah.
it kill you. Let your passions kill you. Die happy. Die in your passions. Love it. Let's go. That was refreshing. Like I'm low key almost like sleepy from how refreshing that was.
Can't
So
pause.
freaking.
There's still like quite a few more hours left.
I know. Oh man, the next one is Let's Just Talk Everything.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, yep. So this
I
is
don't have
more
the
of a
schedule. I don't have the schedule in front of me, so I don't remember.
you are good. I got you. I got you. I got you.
All right.
Yep. So let's head over.
Okay. See you then.
See you then. Bye.
Bye.